Tops, not bottoms.
Oh, that's all right then. Carol does bottoms.
Carol does bottoms.
I have done, yeah.
At my wedding.
On her video.
I did at your wedding, actually, but I didn't.
At your wedding.
But it wasn't
They
a
said,
bare
Carol,
bum.
would you like to give a message to Colin and Ray on their wedding day? Way. And then she went, it wasn't bare bottom, I had tights on. That's even worse, you're like a burglar.
Look, sometimes it is quite funny. It can be funny.
Is it as funny when a woman does it?
Oh, I think it's funnier. I do. I was on a hen night once, and one of the girls that was on the hen night was quite rich, and so she got this big, like, Rolls Royce to take us around town. So it was like 6 girls in this giant car. Like, towards the end of the night, it was getting late and it was getting light. So we decided it'd be very funny to drive up over the bridges and over all the bridges in London, over the Thames, literally taking turns to take our bare bottoms and stick them out the window at passing drivers. But it was so inherently funny, we couldn't get our breath. It was so funny. I don't know if you'd get done for that. I don't know if it's indecent exposure.
Well, it's a good job there was no one wanting to park the bike.
It was hilarious.
Have you ever seen that happen?
Yes, I have. We were, when we were on tour and we'd just been to this thing, and this very well-known girl singer was in the car in front on the motorway. There was like 4 of them in that car.
Are you going to name names?
No, and 4 of them in the back car.
Was it you?
No, it wasn't me.
Oh.
And,
Was it Jane McDonald?
Oh, my God, can you imagine? And as we drove... Hello?
Sorry.
And as we drove by, she mooned us. This really well-known, great voice singer, blonde girl. I'm not even going to tell you who it was. But anyway, she mooned us. And, like, all the lads in the car went, hey, thought it was hysterical. And I just thought, you absolute tramp.
What's trampy about flashing your backside?
Lady, it's just, have you got nothing nice about you, like ladylike?
No.
Well, now, Ms. McDonald came up in the conversation there. Stay with us, she might make a little appearance. As we're halfway through the week, it's time for us to take a closer look at a storyline from one of the soaps and get...
Inalova. Shut it!
Yeah, go on. Mum's done the Archie's. Come on.
Oh, my God.
Linda Bellingham and Jane McDonald there, I think, were supposed to be the Mitchell brothers.
Mitchell brothers, yeah.
So, aptly, we're off to the square, where it seems young Abby has been lying about the true details of her parents, Tanya and Max's separation, and is caught out at her school parents' evening.
Things haven't been easy on her.
Yeah, we've been doing our best, you know.
Yeah,
Keeping an eye on her.
both the girls.
Beginning of term, a dinner lady found Abby crying in the toilets. Did she tell you?
No, she didn't.
Well, things weren't very good back then, so...
But they're better now.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Can I just say how refreshing it is to see such a positive attitude from both of you? And all things considered, Abby's weathered the storm extremely well. She's a credit to both of you. And now that you're getting back together, I see no reason why...
Excuse me.
Now we what?
Well, now that you're getting back together, that is what Abby's been telling everybody.
So this poses the question of how best to explain separation and divorce to the children. Can ignorance be bliss for kids, or is it best to be open and be honest about what's happening with their parents' breakup? Happens all the time, doesn't it? And
it does.
Happened to you when your kids were very young.
They were 4 and 7 when me and Shane were first, you know, when it all went horribly wrong. And it was a really difficult one because you want to protect them, but at the same time, you have to treat them, although they were 4, I mean, the 4-year-old, Jake, at the time, was just worried about who was going to buy his videos. That's all he said. Who's going to buy me a video? And, but, you know, really caring child. But for Shane Jr., who was 7, he was at that age.
A little bit more aware.
Yeah, a little bit more aware. I think what I really tried not to do was put any blame on anybody when I was telling them. You know, I was trying to tell them, you know, as much as you want to, because I was heartbroken at the time and I wanted to tell them exactly what I thought of the father, but I thought best not. Because it's not fair on them, and the only ones actually who screw up at the end of the day are the kids. And I'd seen it happen with friends who'd been through the same situation, and I remember then thinking, and we were really happy then, but thinking, if that ever happens to me, I am never going to do that to my kids. I mean, they literally were dropping the kid off at 10 o'clock at night. No, you have him. Well, I'm going out. I can't have him. Well, I'm not having him. And this little 10-year-old is standing there going, nobody wants me, you know, and really screwed him up for a long time. And all they were doing was trying to hurt each other by using the child. And the only one they were hurting was the child.
Do you think that it was easier because they were younger? Do you think it would be more difficult if they were, say, the ages that they are now?
Well, I think in some respects, it's easier when they're younger because as long as their lives don't change, they're actually quite selfish when it comes to it. Do you know what I mean? As long as their little routine isn't going to change, they soon adapt. I think what happens is when kids get older and they get to teenage years, people think, well, they're old enough to understand. And I don't think they are. I think you still have to be really careful with teenagers. They don't want you to offload and go, your dad
lie to them.
Your dad did this, your dad did that. It's not my fault, it's his fault. You can't lie to them. You can answer questions and you can be honest and say, this happens sometimes in a relationship. It doesn't mean, you know, we don't love you. We both still love you. But some people want to hurt him or hurt the wife by offloading it on teenagers and going, oh, well, they're old enough to understand, and they're not. It still screws them up.
I mean, luckily, my parents are still together. God knows how, I have to say, but, you know, they do adore each other in their own little way. But it's like when my mum used to have a drink, she doesn't really drink now, but when she used to have a bit of a drink, and she would always get her fag on and go, I hate your dad. Like this. And I used to think, oh, for God's sake, here we go again. You know, he's go, well, you married him. Do you know what I mean? It's your marriage. I don't want to hear, I know, but I hate him.
But do you not think, is that not
really
quite common, especially with older kids, that the parents have a great relationship with them and everything's very, you know, they're almost like friends, but then they make that mistake of crossing the line that they are talking about this child's father or their
And I can't bear it when I've been in the room with people, you know, usually the women, because obviously that's who I've, you know, mostly been friends with, and the kids are there at whatever age, and they're slagging the partner off to me in front of the child, and you can see the distress in the child. We're all guilty of doing it now and again, saying, oh, yeah, father, or something like that, but I think
if you're divorcing, it's 100 times worse.
It is 100 times worse. I think the thing as well is that it is the easiest thing to do is to slag him off, and you do have to literally bite your tongue. But what I've noticed is I haven't, you know, kids are very astute in the way that as they get older, they work it out for themselves. You know what I mean? You don't have to slag their dad off
sway
their thoughts or make them love you more, you know. They'll work it all out for themselves and they'll deal with it in their own way and just be honest when they do ask a question. You know, I always try to be honest. I mean, I couldn't be 100% honest because I couldn't.
Well, you can't. But I've been around, you know, rowing parents who do, you're right, use the kids as you know, just ammunition against each other. And I look at them and I think, you know, where are the children here? It's not the children, it's the grown-ups just being like kids. And I just think, grow up. You know, and all credit to my mother. My father left when I was very young. And to be honest, I don't really remember much about it. I don't remember asking, or, you know, maybe I did. I don't even know what my mum said, so it obviously hasn't had that much of an effect. But also, I do remember, for the whole of my life, I'd never really heard my mum say anything negative about my dad.
That's brilliant, though.
Not once. And, you know, I know my mum's attitude was,